Welcome to Democracy 2.0, where I'm Malcolm Berman and my host is Wayne Bouchard. Wayne, how you doing?
Well, as I said earlier, Malcolm, I've had better days, so let's um let's do a good show and maybe my day will turn around. You
Oh,
always
well, you're being seen by the hordes of people that listen to our show.
absolutely. So
I think it's about four. It's my wife, my mother-in-law, your wife, and I don't know if you watch it afterwards.
sometimes
Sometimes.
sometimes when it's usually when I think it was an awful show that I watch it and then find out it wasn't as bad as I thought it was.
Or it's better than you thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Well, it wasn't as bad as I thought, so it's better than what I thought.
Yeah, well,
How are you doing today?
I hate I do it because this is my business, but I hate listening to me. I hate
Yeah,
seeing.
I'm not fond of my own voice or looking at myself either.
Except it's funny because when I ask people about it, I don't know if they're nice or not. They say, "Oh, you have a great voice." Excuse me.
Well, I always look at myself and I say, who is that old guy?
Well, that's why I resist going back to reunions, especially high school reunions.
Who is that old guy there that I'm looking at? Where'd he come from?
Well, yeah, I know where he came from. I know where he's going, and that's me at least.
Yeah, right.
But anyway, let's get back to politics.
Yeah, so the obviously the big news of the day has been Attorney General Merrick Garland, and now we have dueling special counsels. We
Yep.
have a special counsel. He appointed a special counsel to investigate the president's handling of classified documents. They found some more again today in his garage.
Right. What do you think about that?
You know, I think it's fairly careless on the part of the president. I expect that kind of crap from Donald Trump, but not the president of the United States. I'm just shocked that I think it's three different locations at this point that they have found classified documents.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Number one, where you can take classified documents. Can
You
you
can't
take?
take you can't take them out of a classified location, so you're not supposed to take them home. You're not supposed to take them to another office. If you're in the White House, they're supposed to stay in the White House.
Under lock and key?
Yeah, absolutely. In a
Yeah.
secure location. Correct.
So do you think that there should be a special panel?
I think that the Attorney General had no recourse after after today when they said they found some of these papers in his garage
Yeah, I
in
think
a
they found
box.
like 11 papers or something like that.
But the Trump people are having a field day.
Oh yeah.
Fox News is having a heyday here over this. It couldn't have been at a worse time. And the fact that the original documents were found 6 days before the special election and nobody said anything until this week is just unconscionable. I think should have been reported.
Yeah, I agree.
Should
But
have been.
I mean the thing that I find damaging is the fact that now it's going to like water what Donald Trump did. Where he took all these boxes home and said it was his.
Correct.
They belonged to him, and it was like hundreds of top secret, or for eyes only. where Biden has, I don't know, I forget how much it was, but I think under 50, which is bad enough in itself. But basically, it's because they were misplaced, not that he took them, that they're his.
But remember, these were documents that he had and he took when he was vice president.
Right.
It would be a whole different story if, he had taken those documents home last weekend, and that's why they were at his house as the sitting president. But that's not the case. The case is that he had these documents while he was vice president, and therefore that was when did his term as vice president end? 2016, right?
No, 2000. Yeah, that's when Bush. That was when Trump was elected.
Yeah, 2016. Yeah. So these documents have been hanging around for 6 years.
Right. Yeah,
I should. That doesn't say much for our system of keeping track of classified documents. Didn't somebody miss these documents? I don't know.
I guess not. We'll find out what they are. Watch, we'll find out that's all our nuclear codes.
God's sakes.
Well, it's like I said last week, is who's running this asylum?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you can't trust Biden,
he's going to spend the next 10 years, the next 2 years of his presidency, answering questions about these classified documents. This is not going to go away.
Well, he's going to answer questions about everything. Because who is it? That Green, Marjorie something Green,
Marjorie Taylor Greene,
MTG,
as she's known.
And she's ready to impeach him.
Absolutely, I'm sure that they're going to impeach him for this.
I mean, they're starting I think yesterday they started to the procedure for impeachment.
Did they?
No, I mean, but she said that she's talking about it. That's their priority, and also connect him to with his son, with Hunter.
Yeah, they've already asked for a whole bunch of information about Hunter.
And so far, from what I've seen about Hunter, the only thing illegal that he might have done is with the IRS, that he might not have declared all the money he has in his income tax.
Well, if they had allowed the IRS to hire those new agents, maybe they would have caught him.
Well, that's the thing I don't get. I thought that bill passed of the additional funding to the agents.
It did. It passed the House and it passed the Senate and was signed into law.
Right. So how can they just say no? We're not going to fund it.
Well, they just passed a bill. It'll never get through the Senate.
So it's going to be funded. I mean, they can't defund it.
I don't know. I really don't know the answer to that. That's a good question.
Yeah, because from what I gather in the news, that they're not going to appropriate that money to the new IRS.
Well, they can, they can affect the appropriations. Correct.
But I thought it was signed into law.
I don't know. I'll look it up.
Look it up.
I have an answer for you next week.
Okay, we'll have the a continuation next week.
So let's switch gears to one of the Republican stalwarts of integrity and honesty, the newly elected congressman from Long Island, Congressman Santos, who has fabricated an entire personality.
I'm just wondering whether he fabricated his name.
Sometimes he uses his mother's name.
It'll be funny. It'll be like he's using a fictitious name because he's really wanted.
So the New York Times uncovered a whole host of contributions that were run through some unregistered political fund that wasn't registered anywhere. It's not registered with the Federal Elections Commission. And, you know, he got a considerable amount of money through these guys. And his campaign did, and I think he did personally. So this ought to be interesting. And he what did he say? He said today, if 142 people asked him to resign, he will resign.
Yeah. Well, he really meant 142,000 people.
1,000? I still think you know, they can get 142,000 signatures on a petition.
Yeah, well, they might, because the Republican Party of that district asked him to resign.
Yeah, so he's in all kinds of hot water, and it was really. I'm glad he's not my congressman.
Well, the big thing with him, I think, is also, aside from the fact that he lied, is I think 1 year he made $40,000, and the next 2 years he made, I think, $10,000 and excuse me, $10 million and $15 million, and we're really not sure where that came from.
Yeah, yeah. Where did his money come from?
I don't know. It's well, I'd love to find out, because I could use it. I could use that same financial advisor.
Yes, me too. Me too.
And I'd be glad to run for no, well, I don't know if I ran for the no, I like my reps over here, so I wouldn't run. I might run for president.
Well, you know, it might be a crowded field this year.
No, I actually am about the same age as Biden, so I can't claim he's too old and run. That would be.
Well, you know, that might be the only saving grace about this, you know, this, I don't want to call it a scandal, but this whole episode with all these classified documents may keep him busy and occupied, and maybe he'll decide that he doesn't want any more of the spotlight.
Well, he just passed 80, so if let's say he would be elected, he'd be 82. So it'd be from 82 to 86. I don't know, even if he has a lot of energy and he's healthy and his mind is, you know, sharp like a tack, but from 82 to 86 to be in charge of the country, I think that's a bit wearing.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, I told you, I'm binge watching The West Wing with Martin.
So
and that was from 1999 to I think 2006. I think it was 7 years.
right.
And I just get tired seeing how much work they do.
Oh, the amount of energy that goes into what they're doing on a daily basis, and you know, I'm into the campaign now where they're trying to find a successor to Bartlett.
Oh, are they? I think I'm in the middle of the fourth year.
I think I'm towards the end of the 6th year.
Oh, okay.
And the pace is just frantic.
Yeah, well, all of them. I mean, you see, they give the time. You know, they're in at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. They don't leave till 11, 1 o'clock at night.
Yeah, yeah.
And there isn't just one thing. Something comes up, and they're going this, and then all of a sudden something else comes up, and I mean, very cleverly, even though it's basically one-sided, you know, because Aaron Sorkin is the author there and the writer, so he's like he's a little even to the left of me.
Yeah, well, it's well written. It certainly is well written.
But everybody almost speaks with one voice. That's my only objection. But since I agree with that voice, you know, I don't.
Right. It was a bunch of crazies, you know, running around. Speaking of which, you know, the conservatives in Congress they've had their day. You know, I heard someone describe the the growth of the Republican Party is going from innovation to imitation to idiocy.
Yeah. Well, the thing, I mean, they're not talking about anything that's relevant. They're talking about, okay, let's get rid of the inner system. Let's get rid of the FBI, the CIA. It's almost like they're revolutionaries.
Yeah, they want to investigate the Department of Justice and the FBI
Right. And
for
I think,
tampering in politics.
yeah, and they're going to bring back, who killed Abraham Lincoln, except they won't do that because they're Republicans. But JFK, definitely. They're going to go back to the assassination.
Well, they won't do that because nobody they don't want to know. They
Well,
want to know. They don't want to know what happened to Kennedy.
well, you know what's funny? I mean, it's not funny, but I heard, it's about 2 months ago, that the FBI and the CIA knew all about Lee Harvey Oswald, and he was on their radar.
I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. I've heard
But
that.
I haven't heard any follow up on that.
Probably won't either.
Because I know a lot of I know a lot of the mafia want to get rid of him because of he was after them. No, he was. I mean, JFK's brother, Robert Bobby Kennedy was.
He was after the Teamsters. He was after Hoffa.
Yeah, but I mean, and basically that was organized crime.
Right.
That was the mafia. They were all in charge of that. I know in New York they have the longshoremen were basically in the gang, and then the garment workers, they were all controlled. The Teamsters was controlled. Can you imagine that? How much money they control?
Yep. Speaking of money, inflation is down. How about that?
It's down.
Huh?
Yeah, I think it was down. It was last month, what, 6.5?
I think it was 6.8%, down from over. It was like 8.6, and it went down to 6.8, and the deficit went down. Over $1 trillion last month. So things are going in the right direction for Uncle Joe, but he's hiding classified documents next to his sports car, so that's not a good thing.
Well, the thing that's which people fail to, I don't know, people fail to realize, but they don't bring it out. Like the thing that is with inflation, that's causing inflation. Like they're complaining about the eggs, but the eggs are avian flu. I mean, they killed, I think, almost 60 million chickens.
Right.
Yes.
And by the way, my chickens stopped laying eggs.
I mean, really?
Yeah. I keep telling them every day, girls, it's the stock pot for you pretty soon if you don't straighten out here. It's wintertime, and they don't. They usually stop or slow down, and this year they've slowed down to nothing.
And so,
Megan was really upset because she had to go buy eggs,
and that's like about $8 a dozen now.
I don't know.
And what does Papa Rooster say?
Well, I don't have a rooster.
Oh, well, because your eggs aren't fertilized.
Right. I don't want fertilized eggs. I want to eat them.
You get chicken. How mean can you be? These poor hens lay the eggs so they can get little chickies, and you kill the one rooster that can make that.
I didn't kill the rooster. I didn't get a rooster. I never had a rooster.
Well, you should.
There's a rooster down the road. I can hear him in the morning, but I don't have a rooster.
Well, I think I told you the story. The first time I went shopping with after I got married, my wife is Latina, and I went with her to the market to get chicken, or gallina, to the chicken. And normally when I go to the market to get a chicken, I go to like Ralph's or Vaughn's or one of the major stores, and I look in the freezer, and they have the chicken all wrapped up. And you look at it, you see how much it is, how many pounds, and you buy it. So that's what I thought would happen.
No,
we went to a butcher place, and they had live chickens.
Right.
But they all must have been drugged, because they were in a little, there were like 20 chickens in this little cage that they couldn't move. And they pulled out one chicken, what's several chickens, for her to pick the one she wants. So
Yep.
she picks a chicken, and
Right.
and then about a half hour later, we come back and it's all plucked and washed, because they have some sort of machine that it goes through, that they chop off the head,
Hmm.
wash it and everything. But that evening, I couldn't eat the chicken. Why? I knew it when it was alive. I knew that chicken when it clucked. And
You'd eat it eventually if you got hungry enough.
I got hungry enough, or if I didn't know it, but I had a personal relationship to it.
Oh, come on.
So, but I could not eat the chicken.
I have
Well,
names for mine, but
well, it's like not so much. You always see these movies about the kids on the farms, especially when you have the turkey, and they raise the turkey to, for Thanksgiving, and then they come
right.
to slaughter the turkey, and the kids say, "You're killing my turkey."
Hey, yeah. Speaking of turkeys and killing them and cooking them, what about this thing with gas stoves all of a sudden?
Yeah, that I
What do you,
don't know. I just picked that thing up, where they were
what do you
talking
think?
about.
What do you think about that? I think we can end the show talking about gas stoves. What do you think?
I don't know that much about it. I heard them talk, but I haven't really paid attention. One of the comedians was talking about, but how about, they wanted to do an electric stove, and they were talking about that, but the electric stove, when it goes off, you can't tell whether it's hot or not. So especially if you have kids, that grill might be hot.
Yeah, that's that one type of stove. Well, yeah.
I have electric stove, but we don't have gas in the house. Well, I live in an apartment right now, so it's not by choice, but we have electric. The only thing I object about that, it's so damn expensive.
Well, then you should have solar panels to create your own electricity.
Well, I can't. I live in an apartment house.
We'll get the apartment super to throw a couple solar panels up on the roof for
Yeah.
you.
Well, we have like well, we have small units here. I don't think that's feasible. It might be, but because we have like I think 150 units in the apartment, but it's all spread out. It's California. All the grounds is about 10 acres,
Hmm.
and it only goes like 2 flights up. I'm on the bottom flight, and then there's another flight.
Hmm.
So, it's spread out. I don't know if they could do, put the solar panels. It could be very expensive.
What about the flooding in California? Is that affecting you at all?
Well, it hasn't affected me, but it's affected around me within like a 5-10 mile radius.
Hmm. Hmm.
And because I know I live what's called I call the San Fernando Valley.
Hmm.
So like some of the main streets have been flooded out. It wasn't built for water. It rains for 10 minutes and there floods in the street. You can't cross the streets. Especially,
Right.
and last week, the beginning of this week, it was pouring. I mean, really, for the worst I've seen it in probably a good 10 years.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I know certain of the roads, certain of the hillsides were devastated. Like
Hmm.
the main pass on Mulholland Drive was
Hmm.
closed, and the 405 parts of it were closed. And there are parts of the Laurel Canyon, that's one of the pass roads from the valley to the city, goes right into Hollywood. In fact,
Hmm.
Laurel Canyon is famous because a lot of the old rock stars live there.
Oh, I remember that there was I don't remember what it was on one of those cable networks, Netflix or Amazon Prime. I think it was on Amazon Prime. It was very. I found it to be very interesting.
About Laurel Canyon, yeah, that's a good history.
Yeah.
And but so a lot of those areas were devastated, and up by Montecito, which is just south of Santa Barbara,
Hmm.
4 or 5 miles south of Santa Barbara. The 101 was flooded. That's the main drag. Uh,
Yep.
and that was flooded. That was closed.
The
And
whole highway was closed.
yeah, and now we're supposed to get that type of rain coming this weekend.
Okay, more rain.
More rain, and the ground is saturated. But the thing is, there'll still be uh, not enough water. This go away 10 minutes, and we'll still have a drought. Why? We don't have any way to retain the rainwater.
Right.
The
Don't you
rain,
have reservoir? No reservoirs.
well, we have reservoirs, but they're limited.
Hmm.
We don't have some of the foreign countries. I think it's Finland or Switzerland or one of them have where they collect water. They the rainwater they collect to be used. And the thing which I can't see, which getting back to the rainwater. So most, I think 70 or 80% of the water drains out into the ocean, which is not that bad for the ocean, except it takes all the garbage in the
Right.
ocean from the streets into the water. So you'll find, like after the rains, there'll be a swimming advisory. Don't go in the water.
Huh.
And for the life of me, I don't see why they haven't started salinization. We're surrounded by water. We're 80% water or something. The
Yeah.
ocean.
Why are we not doing that? Why aren't we investing, you know, billions of dollars into that technology?
All over the world, because it's not only this country, it's in Africa. There the kids are dying because they have no water.
There's got to be a good reason. I asked somebody that question last week. There's got to be a good reason.
uh I don't know. I mean, they said that there should be a way of doing it. I mean, we're flying to Mars and landing people on the moon. Why the
Right.
hell? Why can't we help desalinate the water and so make it drinkable, or make it at least washable? That we could bathe in it, or
Hmm.
put it in our toilets even.
Right. Right. I mean, we're working on fusion reactors. Why not desalinization plants?
They are, but it's not. I don't think we're paying enough attention to it.
Well, that's like, we're not spending money on the FAA, obviously, as we learned yesterday.
Ha! That's a nightmare. I don't know. I guess my
More
wife
infrastructure problems.
my wife wants to go flying someplace. I say no way.
Oh,
First of all, I think getting in and out of the LAX is supposed to be like your worst nightmare.
hmm.
Sorry for those tourists who want to come in, but it's horrible. And the
Hmm.
transportation is horrible to get because I don't think you're allowed cars in there now. So you have to park outside and then take a bus in, which don't run on time. Aside from the planes not running on time, the buses don't run on time. Then
Right.
to take a plane, you're supposed to get there 2 hours before.
Right. Right. To get through security.
Right. So let's say go to San Francisco from here, from LAX, is an hour a flight, but it's 2 hours to be on the plane before you get to the hour flight. And then
Well, you could almost walk there by then.
I understand the seats are much narrower than they used to be. I mean, I always found them narrow, but now they're supposed to be narrower. And plus, when someone leans back and there's less leg room, not
Right.
that it's huge.
There was a headline in today's paper, and I didn't read the article yet. Pretty soon you're not going to be able to recline your seat in an airplane.
Well, I got spoiled when I was working for my radio station, KFAC. Now, this is going back to the 80s. And when I would take a flight, the airlines advertised on my station. So when I took a flight, I would call up the advertising department and say, "Hey, is it possible to bump me up?"
Hmm.
So when I flew to New York, or a few times I flew to England, uh, I'd get generally bumped up either to business or to first class.
Mhm.
Now, again, I haven't traveled in a long time for a good 10 years, but like in first class, ain't bad. First class had these big lounge chairs that you sat down on.
Right.
When you went back, the bottom, you could almost lie down because the bottom part came up so you can rest your feet. They gave
Mhm.
they gave you uh, house shoes that you put on, so you take off your shoes and you wear the house shoes. Uh, each dish came with, well, and there were dishes. Each dish came separately, so the salad came in a salad plate. Then they would take away the salad plate. Then they would give you soup or whatever in its own plate, and
Mhm.
and it was silverware they served in,
Mhm.
and then you had unlimited wine.
Yeah, I remember when you could smoke a cigar on an airplane.
Yeah. Well, that I don't miss.
Well, we have to be out of time.
At good timing. We are out of time. This one, again, I almost feel our show is a political Seinfeld
It's about nothing.
about nothing. Actually, we talk about what people don't talk about.
Yeah.
And as I say, it's too common. And by the way, I forgot to say we are on malcolmpresents.com.
All right.
And this is a streaming portal into the world of Zoom casting. And
Into the insights of humanity.
well, there's no holds barred. I mean, we talk about what we want to talk about. No one is stopping us. They can't say, "Oh no,
Maybe we should have a censor.
I'm the censor." This is,
Okay. Okay.
I mean, the only thing that we really censor is language because I'm really not sure how much I can get away with. But I'd like to find out because there's some judicial cursing I'd like to do, which basically, because that really says what you feel. And if I say certain, like the F bomb, right? If I say that, you know what I feel.
Mm.
Not to use,
It's becoming, so matter of fact today. It's
right.
used so often that its effect on people.
Well, it still has effect. When I hear it in movies or something, I still have
It
effect.
irritates the hell out of me because
But
everybody.
not as an adjective. I mean, that was a certain class, so certain community that uses it as an adjective.
I used to tell people that there are 998,000 some odd words in the English language. Why is your entire vocabulary made up of that one word?
Or every other word. Anyway,
All right.
let's listen.
I gotta go feed the dog, Malcolm. He's banging on the door.
Okay, go feed your dog, and if you
He's a
come back,
big dog, so I gotta pay attention to him.
we'll do this again next week.
Maybe, yes. The good Lord will and the creek don't rise.
Speak to you then,
All
kid.
right.
Have a good week.
All right. Thank you.
Listen to the news.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye now.